A new face trend is on the rise. Buccal fat has just become the new enemy of beauty.
Please don't get rid of it.
Growing up, I've always had a chubby cheek. No matter how skinny I was or am, no matter how low my body fat percentage is, my body fat would rather stay on my cheeks than my boobs. That's just how I work. Was it an insecurity of mine? Absolutely. So yes, I do understand the immediate emotional reasons behind why this beauty trend popped up.
Oh my God!
The buccal fat removal trend. Yes, it is blowing up in a scary way, and yes, in a way that reminds me of the BBL epidemic. Because not just celebrities are leading this trend by flashing their unnaturally sharp cheekbones and slim face, social media, TikTok, is showing that everyday people like you and me are getting the procedures done.
And just take out the excess fat, because I've got really chubby cheeks, and I'm so excited. So me and Mum are on our way up to Birmingham now, and I thought I'd take you with me.
So let's dive into the obsession with a low-fat face. How is a snatched face achieved? Why is buccal fat surgery the new BBL? And why is this trend not only dangerous?
Because that is a surgery that I have contemplated for years whenever my body dysmorphia got really bad.
But also something people will regret.
This is the day after my buccal fat removal.
First off, what is buccal fat? To understand this, we need to first know what is face or body fat. Face fat, like all other fat stores in the body, accumulates over time as a result of consuming more calories than the body needs to function. It's a storage of energy in case, an apocalypse happens. And no, you cannot spot reduced fat because everyone differs in how and where they store extra energy as fat. Most men in bellies, women in hips and thighs, and me in my cheeks. Dr. Andrew Janako, a New York City plastic surgeon known for giving Marc Jacobs a facelift, said, "Buccal fat is one of the deep facial fat compartments that gives structure to the cheek area.
Very specific collection of fat in the face, part of which extends into the lower cheek, right about here.
Unlike most fat tissues, it is not impacted by weight fluctuations. Quote, we are born with how much we have. Well, that explains why I had this cheek forever. It is found in the midsection of the face and makes the face appear more rounded. When surgically removed, the face will immediately look more sculpted.
This is my before, and then this was 6 months after.
In young people with overly full buccal fat pads, they often feel like they have chipmunk cheeks, or that their face is bottom heavy, or their cheeks look too fat when they smile.
But why do we want this quote-unquote sculpted face?
Buccal fat, fat graft, fat graft, fat graft, fat graft, cheekbone reduction. Wow, nice job.
Before we discuss the new wave of obsession with the buccal fat free face, any of you curious what is the typical cost behind it? Well, for Dr. Janako, the surgeon interviewed by the New York Times, $40,000. Other legitimate certified surgeons typically cost $7 to $16K for the procedures. So, not that cheap. And what is a typical procedure actually like? Well, I'm glad you asked. The surgical procedure in a gist is finding that excess fat from the buccal fat pads, which are located deep in the cheeks under the buccal muscle, and removing it. Meaning the knife goes under the skin, under the muscle, and around some nerves.
Intricately intertwined with certain important structures, and that includes the parotid duct. It connects the parotid gland to the inside of the mouth via the parotid duct, and that's actually what sends saliva into our mouth. That's one of the glands that does that. Also, the buccal branch of the facial nerve is right in that space. The facial nerve, as you recall, is the nerve that controls the muscles of the face.
I mean, the obsession with low fat is nothing new. Low fat yogurt, low fat dressing, low fat chips, low fat face? Too bad it's not USDA organic. The buccal fat removal hype is heightened with the current beauty goal to mimic a fashion model look. Models tend to have high cheekbones and narrow sculpted cheeks, as makeup artists spend a lot of time contouring under the cheekbones for the snatched look.
A little bit more and break up the roundness.
The obsession with a high cheekbone and sharp jawline is nothing new. Since the black and white film era, a sharp-looking face has been deemed attractive and iconic for classic beauties like Katharine Hepburn, Sophia Loren in the 60s, Bianca Jagger, and modern beauty icons such as Keira Knightley and Angelina Jolie. But you know me, simply looking more runway ready is not a good enough answer to this long obsession with a low-fat face. Why do we find a sharp face attractive?
So my name is Bella Hadid.
Well, studies have found that high cheekbones indicate that a person is sexually mature, true for men and women alike, therefore increasing attractiveness. And a 2014 study by New York University found that, oddly enough, we subconsciously associate high cheekbones with trustworthiness, despite the classical portrayal of high cheekbone villains in popular culture.
Round-faced girlies, stand up. We are an irreplaceable societal resource. Who will someone tell their deepest, darkest secrets to, if not us? We have universal friend face.
So what about attractiveness and facial fat?
I even see the results more so now than I did even in this photo.
Gaining a fat in the face can change facial proportions and change the length between your eyes, which could alter the perceived level of attractiveness.
Chris's facial width to height ratio went down a considerable amount as his cheeks slimmed down. This can affect the perceptions of masculinity, creativity, aggressiveness, and a number of other factors like dominance.
Through a study on the submental cervical angle and attractiveness, it was found that a submental cervical angle of 90 to 105 degrees was deemed acceptable, and at a degree of 125 and above, meaning having a looser jawline, the subjects start to be perceived unattractive. So, how to get a snatched face? If we look at the basic structure of the face, we have several components: bone, muscle, fat, skin. You have facelifts for skin, Botox to make the masseters shrink, and some people even go as extreme as shaving the bone of their jaw to reshape their faces. Oh yes, it's more common in Asia, and many lost their lives on the surgery table before they could even take a look at their newly snatched faces. So what about fat? Face fat out of all fat is usually the last you go, and natural changes are often very subtle. And it happens naturally with weight and fat loss because there is no spot reduction. Usually a significant amount of weight has to be shed before it shows any differences on the face. Not as easy as a simple scoop of the fat away, right?
Aaron Burr looks like if George Washington got buccal fat removal. Sorry.
And as we mentioned before, the buccal fat is one of the rare fat tissues that actually does not change size with weight fluctuations. So yes, if out of all fats you have a beef with your buccal fat, the only way to resolve that is to either accept it or remove it. The complications? Just wait. Tina, a nurse who lives in LA, travels to Tijuana, Mexico in 2020 to have the procedure done.
See, at the top photo, that is me before. She was a little chunky.
It only cost us $600, and she convinced her mom to go with her and have the surgery too. Imagine the conversation. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you so much, which is why I'm taking you on a trip to remove that cheek fat of yours that I'd assume you'd be insecure about. Expensive? Don't worry about it. We're not going to Beverly Hills or, in fact, any certified surgeon. We're going to Mexico, where we could leave not only our worries, but also our buccal fat behind. Girls trip! She documented the trip on TikTok, where it has been viewed over 5 million times.
I think I look pretty cute.
First, I appreciate the transparency of her being super open on her experience. But two things make her actions dangerous. Number one, transparency is great, but the way she made a surgical procedure where knives go around your muscles and nerves seem like a no big deal fun trip, this is no longer just normalizing cosmetic surgery, but glamorizing it. It's like a luxurious self-treat experience. Hashtag self-care. And second, taking the risk to do a $600 procedure in lieu of the usual $7 to $16K one is a personal choice, but the way it is promoting that it is more bang for the buck is going to encourage more people to A, not only chase after the buccal fat removal trend, but also B, try to do it in a way to minimize cost, leading to more procedures done by possibly illegitimate surgeons at the expense of potential unimaginable, irreversible damages. What are those, you ask? Let's finally look at why this procedure and trend is dangerous.
Fuck you! Fuck you, motherfucker! I put myself fucking hell for you!
A lot of people have been asking me for, and it's why I stopped doing buccal fat removal surgery.
A 4-year-old could probably tell you why getting a knife inside your cheek around some muscles and nerves to scoop up some fat is probably not a good idea. Let's just name a few of the complications. Infection at the incision site, injury to facial nerves or salivary duct, numbness or sensation changes, asymmetry. My face hurts just listing these. But of course, as some may say, pain is beauty, and I respect that it is a personal decision as other people's faces are none of my business. But what's concerning me is the contradictory lack of transparency and over-transparency at the same time. For the lack of transparency, we see celebrities such as Bella Hadid and Dove Cameron getting quote-unquote glow-ups where they look farther and farther from what they used to look like. And yes, they look beautiful with the more chiseled, defined, fat-free face, but they were gorgeous to begin with. And with the whole Lea Michele transformation hot topic, where fans could barely recognize her face any longer, but none of these extreme transformations were disclosed by the celebrities themselves where the glow-up magic truly came from. You know, the magical room called the surgery room, where you'll never walk out the same. For people of great influence, it is extremely misleading to their massive reach of followers to attribute drastic changes like such to a natural glow-up. Yes, it will help sell whatever beauty or skincare products they are affiliated with, and that's exactly the problem. Often, young girls are sold the idea that they could look just like the celebrities they adore naturally by buying whatever the next hot beauty product will be, without realizing that such quote-unquote natural beauty sometimes need to be achieved through a knife. Which is why when people like Chrissy Teigen stepped up and vocally admitted that she had her buccal fat removed and she liked it for her.
I'm really seeing the results and I like it. Yeah.
Simple, direct, transparent. Loved it. And with the trend booming on TikTok, more and more people are being an open book with their buccal fat removals. Again, I love that everyone is so candid, removing the stigma around plastic surgery and talking about their personal choices maturely, until it became the new BBL tech. Ultimately, there is a difference between normalizing something and glamorizing it. And we have now just entered the era where being buccal fat free is the new BBL of the year.
So first we were giving our cheeks more volume with filler, and now we are extracting the fat from our cheeks to make our cheeks smaller. This is a permanent procedure that I promise will not make you look like a celebrity. It probably won't even make you happier. Definitely won't make you hotter, because you're already hot.
Community service is not hot. Rehab, that's not hot. Jail is not hot. Hillary Duff is not hot. I'm thin, I'm blonde, and my coke is too cute, but your tan comes straight from the bottle. Bitch, mine comes straight from Aruba.
BBL 2.0?
It's giving. It's giving. It's giving.
Similar to the BBL trend that exploded on TikTok over a year ago, buccal fat removal seems to be the next hot surgical move. Or more so, the buccal fat free face seems to be the new aesthetic. Makeup trends are also popping up to imitate the buccal fat free look, reinforcing the most in definition of modern beauty as a hollow, bony face. But like I said in my video about the BBL epidemic, body ideals, like everything else in pop culture, are a trend. And surprise, that trend is basically dead, as the queen of the BBL look, Kim Kardashian, sized down in recent months, and some even suspect that she got her BBL removed. For those who risk their lives getting a BBL to stay on trend and stay within the beauty standard, all that pain, complication, money, for a brief moment of looking conventionally beautiful before falling out of trend again. And I have zero doubt that the same will happen with the buccal fat removal trend. Sure, it is the hot look right now to have a hollow, sharp face. But what will happen if, in a few months, the baby angelic face is in? Do you run back to your surgeon and have the fat injected back to your face again? Might as well store it in a jar and have it pop back in every time it's in season again.
They think that if they get this one surgery, that all of a sudden it's going to completely transform the appearance of their face and make everything look sculpted and how they envision it. It's oftentimes not the case. There are other fat compartments of the face that are a bit more superficial, meaning closer to the skin surface, and they're not going anywhere. Maybe over time, maybe with weight changes, they might change, but otherwise they're going to remain the same after the buccal fat surgery.
Imagine years down the line, it is considered the beauty standard to have, I don't know, a large earlobe and then a small one. Does it not seem preposterous to then go for a earlobe filler and then a earlobe fat removal? The worst thing about this trend is that many people will be making a decision they will regret. Not gonna lie, I did feel very insecure about my baby face fat throughout my life, and sometimes even now. I did consider procedures such as getting the fat dissolved, but I'm glad that I had a very responsible esthetician telling me to keep it because she regretted losing her cheek fat to injections. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's been something I had throughout my life. I was born with the buccal fat, even though my mom was like, oh, it's just baby fat, you'll lose it when you grow up. Well, I am grown up, and honestly, it's something I grew up with, something that's like becoming my trait that I am learning to love and appreciate.
So here's how I use makeup to accentuate my round cheeks, because they're cute. See, I personally would never get buccal fat removal because if I did, I wouldn't be able to do this. Look at it. It's so stretchy and amazing.
On top of that, because the buccal fat is the only fat that stays consistent, as we age, other fat in our face and body will be gone. And the buccal fat is what will hold our face plump instead of having a prematurely aged, sunken face.
Fat is evidence of use. That's why you do filler.
Round face queens, where you at?
And not sure about you, but I don't think looking like I'm in my 40s when in my 30s is a dream of mine, which is why I think the trend encouraging more people, especially younger girls, to get this part of their body removed makes an irreversible change that they might regret later on in life.
Now you're young, so you might be okay, but 10 years later or something, you're gonna regret it.
People are probably going to comment and say, yeah, we'll wait for 10 years from now, whatever. And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, I love the results. I'm so happy I got it done.
Plus, with everything, going to either extremes could counter the original intent. Sure, an overly enlarged face with too much adipose tissue could decrease attractiveness, but so is an emaciated face that reminds people of ill health and malnourishment. Having a truly big face is also deemed more desirable in some cultures. And people with more round and baby face looks, such as Gigi Hadid, Miranda Kerr, not only look youthful and gorgeous, they also look uniquely themselves. So who knows what the next hot surgical procedure will be? Just know that if you chase after the next beauty ideal, your face will be in and out of trend. If you don't chase after the next beauty ideal, your face will also be in and out of trend. So move with the trend or be your own trend.